Here's the real scandal in Canadian politics right now. It's not corruption, it's cruelty, and one MP proved that cruelty is that brand. It's been a couple weeks of Canadian political theater, the kind where everyone forgets their lines and starts ad-libbing rage. The federal budget hit the stage, cue the partisan pyrotechnics, and in the midst of the noise, a small plot twist. A Conservative MP, evidently tired of the performance, crossed the floor to the Liberals. Another one from Alberta resigned entirely, calculating that if he switched sides, his constituency would have had him drawn and quartered behind the Calgary Stampede. Then, just before the Christmas break, a third crossed. The first two crossed from Nova Scotia, left behind a seat won by a single percentage point. He accused Pierre Poilievre's leadership of being bullying, of tearing down rather than building up. And, right on cue, the party confirmed his thesis. The Conservatives called him a traitor, a coward, a self-interested climber. They did it with relish, with the sort of pious venom that can only be brewed in Ottawa's most sanctimonious basement. Now, when a Liberal MP crossed the other way in 2018, joined the Tories, remember? The Liberals didn't descend into a public frenzy. There was probably private disgust. Politicians always hate defection because it exposes the team jersey for what it is, a costume. But publicly, there was decorum, or at least the pretense of it. Back then, people still performed civility. Sort of. Justin Trudeau was often cloddish. So the question, why does the right now seem to delight in cruelty, not just tolerate it, but brand it? You hear it everywhere. Trump's Republicans, Britain's Tories, Canada's Conservatives, all humming the same tune of mean-spirited triumphalism. Why does the left's nastiness seem furtive, apologetic, while the right's is open-air theater? Let's start with the obvious. The new right has made resentment its aesthetic. What used to be called the common man has been recast as the angry man. Politics has become stand-up comedy for the aggrieved, and the punchline is always cruelty. Trump understands this perfectly. You don't win hearts, you inflame them. Bojo did it with a grin. Poilievre does it with a scowl. The point is not persuasion, but performance. The sneer as the sincerest form of authenticity. The cruelty is the connection. It's what makes the base feel alive. It's proof that their man, their movement, still has teeth. To be nice is to be complicit with the elites, to have gone soft in the liberal sauna of sensitivity. The insult, the jeer, the bullying, these become moral acts, proof of unvarnished truth-telling. When Poilievre heckles the Prime Minister in Parliament, his supporters don't hear a man losing his temper, they hear a man defending theirs. And cruelty in this economy is a growth industry. Outrage is the algorithm's favorite food. Conservative media learn this first and best. You don't have to win arguments when you can simply trigger your enemies. Rage is attention, and attention is power. The right's cruelty is entrepreneurial. It's show business with slogans, and there's a deeper current under it all. The right's theology, because that's what it's become, is one of hierarchy and toughness. Society is a jungle, not a daycare. The weak deserve their weakness, and the strong must not be restrained by woke niceties. Cruelty becomes moral proof of vitality. We're not snowflakes, they boast, while pelting others with hailstones. Meanwhile, the left, God love them, still believes in empathy as a political virtue, but this belief is often neurotic, performative, a way of proving one's own righteousness. When left-wing cruelty does appear, it's bureaucratic or moralistic, a public shaming wrapped in virtue. They'll ruin your reputation while claiming to preserve your dignity. Call it the cruelty of HR. So perhaps it's not that the right is more cruel, it's that it's more honest about enjoying it. The left hides its malice behind progressive jargon. The right turns malice into a brand identity. The Conservatives' vitriol toward their ex-colleague isn't just anger, it's loyalty theater. You don't just lose an MP, you gain a spectacle of betrayal, and nothing bonds a tribe like a heretic to burn. There's another explanation, the media one. The right's cruelty is louder because it's broadcast from a central stage. Fox, GB News, Rebel Media. The left's vitriol, by contrast, is splintered across social media fiefdoms, little mobs with megaphones. When the right sneers, it makes the evening news. When the left cancels, it trends for 6 hours on X and then dies. Different ecosystems, same poison, different decibels. But still, there's a tonal shift that can't be denied. Politics used to be a form of moral theater. Now it's ultimate fighting. We no longer debate, we perform allegiance. The goal isn't to win over the undecided, but to destroy the unfaithful. Every tweet is a tiny trial. Every defection a Judas kiss. Polyev, like Trump, needs the cruelty. It is the glue of his populism. When an MP calls him a bully, he can't respond with grace. It would collapse the persona. His movement thrives on conflict. A calm, generous Polyev would be like a pacifist general, existentially absurd. The fury, the message. So, yes, you're noticing something real. The right's new temperament is performative cruelty. It's not a glitch, it's the brand. The moral equation has been inverted. Kindness is weakness, ridicule is authenticity. It's a politics of spite disguised as courage. Yet, before we drown in our own disgust, let's admit this. The cruelty didn't start with them. It began when politics became content, when the news cycle demanded daily blood and social media offered applause for moral outrage. The right merely learned to do it without apology. They've dropped the pretense of decency and found, to their delight, that voters like it. What's left for the rest of us? Perhaps the radical act now is not outrage, but restraint. To see politics not as loyalty contest, but as a shared project. To refuse the dopamine of derision. Otherwise, the whole spectacle continues, one side smirking while the other side scolds, both convinced they're saving the world from each other. Maybe that Nova Scotia MP saw this before the rest of us did. Maybe he realized the cruelty wasn't an aberration, but the operating system. So he crossed the floor, not just from blue to red, but from noise to the faint hope of quiet. Hope these days is the last act of rebellion.